to our culture.
Yes, Grenada, when you play the games of the NLA, you enable us to invest in the skills and talents of our people in the areas of sports, culture, and nation building.
Good evening and welcome to another MTV Community Forum. We welcome you wherever you are. I'm your host, Byron Campbell, and of course, Chris Diali. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Byron, and good evening for our listeners and viewers. We're happy to be here again another Wednesday to have a chat about certain things going on in Grenada, of course. And we might let you well know at this point in time that we won't be on next Wednesday because that is the day after Carnival, so we're taking a break for that week. And we'll come back the next week.
Because I hope you're playing Carnival. I am,
Yeah,
I've started.
Playing it in my mind.
In your mind. Too bad for you, Chris, But things are happening, Chris.
Yes, quite a number of things
are
are
happening. And we have a lot to talk about, but of course we also have a special guest joining us
this
later.
evening we have Superintendent Frank Farray, who is in charge of operations in the RGPF. He'll be joining us this evening to talk about the security protocols in and for Carnival, and in particular in general, to our nation at this particular time of the year when we have so many visitors here. And we want to keep this Carnival and the mood in the country one way it is safe so that people can enjoy themselves in a particular way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Chris, I want to start off with a very serious matter. I want us to turn on to look at a major foreign policy development. And this is the U.S. State Department has made its visa bond requirement permanent among 50 countries targeted worldwide, but only 4 Caribbean nations are included, and that includes Grenada, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, and Cuba. Consular officers in Barbados, in our case, now have the discretion to require cash bonds deposit of between $10,000 and $20,000 US before issuing tourist or business visas, whatever. Tonight, let us examine some of what this burden means for Grenadian families and ask whether, Chris, and I'm going to bring that to you, whether our citizenship by investment program is worth the diplomatic fallout.
Well, I think it's more than that. It probably had some consideration in why they're making this permanent. But when you examine why the U.S. is doing that, they're talking about still-over people who violate their visa when they go to the U.S. and stay longer than they ought to. It's not a security issue. Our CBI program has 4 layers of security, so they're not citing that because they know that exists. And when you look at what has gone on and the events that have led up to that, our Minister of Finance was denied a visa, right? When the radar situation came up, we didn't partake. We didn't say yea or nay to the U.S. And when you look at other issues that have been developing with our country in foreign policy, the move to African countries, the move to South American countries to get aid and other possible commercial interests to develop our country, you see that the U.S. is now using the visa requirement as a weapon. And that is clear for the countries that they have listed. And, it's unfortunate because I personally would not pay 10 or 20,000 US dollars in cash bond and give to the US and to get a visa, hopefully. And when you reach on the US, in US territory, you're not sure you'll be allowed in.
Exactly, Chris. You cited that possible reason is that the U.S. rationale cites high overstay rates. Well, let me tell you something. Grenada non-immigrant policy overstay rate sits around 3.2%. And this compare, we have nations as much as between 5 and 10, and they were excluded. Right. One of them is Jamaica, for example. So forget this overstay matter, So does it have to do with our response related to the radar issue? But there is speculation there was to the effect that the CBI program is a major factor. So the question is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Not all the CBI countries in the region have been given that issue. right? Dominica is not included as far as I'm aware. Dominica have a huge CBI program,
Yeah.
right? Antigua ourselves.
So Dominica is included. We have Dominica, Cuba, Antigua, Bermuda.
And what is Cuba?
Grenada.
Cuba will have a CBI program.
No, so it's not there. But this is
Yeah,
this is the
so
measure they're
Saint Lucia is
using
not
on us.
included.
But we can go further, Chris,
You understand?
because in 2 years, what happens? Because the EU, for example, we've cited this before, have issued clear directions on this, that you have
And
2
what-
years.
and what it-
In 2 years, we are going to shut you. We are not. You're going to require a visa to come to our
Yeah,
country.
but what has England and Spain done in recent times?
Well, that's 2 out of many, Chris.
Yes, but they are also, England just renewing their CBI
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
Spain have said they're not joining the EU in this visas,
Yeah.
this visa. So if you land in Spain, you could have access to the Schengen visa to travel throughout Europe. It may take you a little longer,
Yeah.
but you could get into Spain without a visa requirement.
Chris, and adding to the diplomatic strain, reports indicating that U.S. departments had notified Congress of plans to close 5 overseas missions, including our U.S. Embassy in Grenada. So it's compounded the situation, and now they are moving away. They are saying, look, we don't need these diplomatic relations with you.
Well,
We don't
that's
need
quite
this.
obvious in the way of they have posted.
So we have a
Netherlands.
serious diplomatic pressure here.
Yeah, but when you look at how the U.S. have been posting, Dr. Antwine with the CPSO
Yeah.
have indicated, when you look at all the programs they have pulled, USAID, the funding and
Yeah.
grant funding
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
different programs
Yeah.
for our
Yeah.
countries,
Yeah.
it is not something that is happening today.
Yeah.
It is something that the U.S. have taken a decision
Yeah.
that they're not assisting these countries in the OECS and CARICOM up to a certain level. Let them get it from China or wherever else.
Because I think the biggest fallout here is that related to our people who travel to the U.S. regularly for medical purposes, for educational purposes, we have a huge diaspora there. You know, families communicate a lot, families travel a lot for various reasons. So that's significant.
I know.
And I'm not hearing our government issue any statement on this or reacting to this. Why is this the silence, Chris?
Well, that is correct. We haven't heard anything from the foreign minister or the government in general.
Yeah.
And how I suppose they're taking time to poster and see what
Yeah.
can be done if there's any lobbying. Antigua have announced that they're lobbying the government to remove,
Yeah.
the U.S. to remove these
Yeah.
restrictions.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't believe the medical thing is as concerning. We have Barbados, we have Trinidad, we have South America, Colombia and so on, that offers excellent medical care at a fraction of the cost that you could go to Miami and get, or New York. So I don't think the medical thing is as big as it making out to be, but the traveling of our diaspora to and from the U.S. is a tourism thing.
Education,
And so
some
on,
kind
so
of
on.
reason, man. Business also, remember?
Yeah.
So there's a
And education,
a lot
universities now,
of our business is through the United States.
yes, a lot of the educational in terms of universities are now moving online, and there's a reason for that.
I know.
When you look at what's happening with India and students from India
I
and
know
so
because
on.
most of our medical students go to do the final qualification in the U.S.
But you know, at the end
Chris
of
is
the day,
significant,
I'm not saying no. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, we will find alternatives. I believe
I'm sure.
that we could offer to our people in the diaspora and otherwise. It is going to have an impact. Remember, even remittances back to this region, the U.S. have counts
Taxes.
and taxes.
Yeah,
So
taxing,
I mean, there's not a the whole.
So we
strategy.
are under significant pressure from the United States, and we want to hear more from our governments on what's happening in this foreign policy situation. Chris, earlier this week, and of course there's a press conference today on, the Prime Minister announced that the government of Grenada has officially terminated its long-standing production sharing contract with Global Petroleum Group. It's a Russian-backed outfit. They hold offshore gas exploratory rights since 2008. Prime Minister presented his case firmly. He was on a press conference. But I think it's important that we examine the bigger picture. We've only heard from one side. Of course, it's one side of the story. And a sudden termination opened up some serious question about legal liability, international arbitration, and what this means for our future energy.
Well, I've heard the press release and so on, and I understand what the government is saying, and if there are violations to the contract, I support the government.
Absolutely.
But when you look at the context, remember the Prime Minister just came from Suriname,
Yes.
where he offered the sale of blocks and the development of whatever potential we have commercially for hydrocarbons.
Yeah.
Here it is, the Russians are sitting on certain blocks, which the Russians have said GPG have said
Yeah.
there are, based on the surveys and what they have done, blocks that could be commercially exploited.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the Russians and getting access to the blocks, to me, will say the government has a better chance of selling those blocks
Yeah.
to other parties who
Yeah.
may be interested.
Yeah.
But we don't know. And, you know, everything around oil and gas in this country has been held to the chest, except when they want us to know
No
certain things.
information.
Right. So let us see what is GPG's reaction.
Yeah.
I support the government in terms of the stance they have taken, and they're supporting it by the legal arguments.
Yeah.
But let us hear what GPG is going to say and how they're going
That's
to
going to
react.
be crucial. But I think we need to understand too. There were some, but I understand clearly. My information, the information I've been to gather, in cases, and there are a lot internationally of these kind of cases where contracts are broken, particularly in the oil and gas sector. What I'm learning, there is 45% of these cases end amicably through arbitration, and another 40% go to the bilateral.
Yeah, or
There's only a small
international
amount
court.
that goes to the court. Interesting. So it's left to be seen, of course, and I think the key thing for viewers to understand is we've heard the government side. The government have put up a fair and I will say a sound position. When you listen to our Prime Minister as a trained lawyer also, very good position was put forward. But keep in mind, we've not heard the other side yet. And this is not some things that are going to end overnight. It
When
is a
you end the
process.
contract of existing
Yeah.
owners of blocks,
Yeah.
arbitration and bilateral negotiations
Yeah.
are going to be strained.
Yeah.
Because what new contract you coming and offer me
Yeah.
in a bilateral discussion?
Yeah.
And in whose favor is the contract going to... The Prime Minister didn't say that the contract wasn't in our favor, you know, or it
No.
wasn't properly done.
Yeah.
All he said is that GPG violated aspects of the contract
Exactly.
and didn't live up to certain commitments that they make.
Yeah.
So it's not that the contract was badly drafted. And I want to say this, it may have some political issues because this was done under NNP days.
Yes.
And NNP, just as this government, only released some snippets of information.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to hear what ex-Minister Gregory Bowen has to say on
Say
this as well,
about
because he
this.
was a major person in
Yeah.
this negotiation.
So it's interesting how this matter evolves
yes,
and,
yes.
and develops. Chris, of course, we talk about road infrastructure all the time, and we see what's happening in the Pointe Lane, the repaving. But a couple of points we want to make. So major road repairs are taking place across the island, and we talk about the Maurice Bishop Highway. And we know that many of these, including this project, is the build, finance, design, build model that is taking place. But key technical and financial questions maybe have been overlooked. We don't know. We're simply putting fresh coat of asphalt over weak foundations. And why is the full cost of these designs not, or this is not open and is not available for the public?
I took a drive down to Point Saline to
Yeah.
watch the operations.
Yeah.
Yes, the company Namalco has engaged in doing it. It's doing a pretty good job in terms of the resurfacing.
Yeah.
You know, the disappointing thing for me in this particular issue is that it looks more political than anything else. Why I'm saying this, we have a Minister for Infrastructure, who is our Prime Minister.
Yes.
We're not sure if this is a sole source in terms of who they got as a contractor to do it, or if it has to follow the rules in Grenada where you bid. You have another
Procurement rules, yeah.
procurement rules that is law.
Yeah.
And that the procurement rules were followed,
Yeah.
and Namalco was chosen. And by the way, Namalco comes from Trinidad with, you know, a certain reputation.
Positive reputation, Chris?
Well, I wouldn't say so. But at the end of the day, when you look at what is being done, the process is a milling process, which means they take up the existing asphalt on
Yeah.
the road, they remix it, they make adjustments to it, and then they relay it.
So is this a sub-base that's been changed or
Nothing is
surface?
being done to the subbase. So
Oh.
roads were designed 25, 30 years ago for a particular tonnage, let's say 10 tons. Now we have 3 or 4 times that tonnage on the road in terms of trucks and what they carry.
Right.
So even though you do this resurfacing, it may last for a little while, because at the end of the day, when these huge trucks with all this load come on the trucks, the road is going to...
So the question we
go
want to ask the Minister for Construction is that why spend millions on surface hot mix asphalt without increasing the load carrying capacity of the road's
And as well,
foundation first?
We're not sure how the asphaltic mix is going to deal with the hot sun and these big trucks
Yeah.
and the waving wheelers get on the road.
And the unknown final cost.
Exactly. We do design, build, finance. You
yeah.
don't know what the cost is yet, you know.
Because what
To the country.
exactly what viewers need to understand that private financing, which the firm is doing, carries profit margins, interest rate, risk premiums
Correct.
that can make the final price tag significantly higher than traditional public procurement. You know, we need to understand that. This is we're not hearing much about that, but it's important.
Think about it. Even though you're going design, build, finance, when you're coming to do
Yeah.
procurement, what
Yeah.
price you put in?
Yeah.
For the procurement process and for you to
Yeah,
assist.
yeah.
Because where is the CTO in this process? We're not hearing nothing from the CTO,
Yeah.
who is responsible for understanding the specs
Yeah.
of the tonnage and all of these
Yeah.
things that we just spoke about. We hear
I
nothing.
just hope, because this is costing a lot.
Will cost us a lot.
Chris, in community news, we heard that the Grenada Society for the Prevention and Cruelty to Animals, that the GSPCA at Lotus Lane has been forced to temporarily close its veterinary clinic due to a lack of veterinarians, funding, and critical personnel. But we know for a long time they have operated without state funding, treating over 5,400 animals in 2025 alone. I got this information. And so tonight we must ask why such a vital community service was left to falter without intervention from the government or corporate partners.
And you know, GSPCA would tend to be a little
Yeah.
insignificant in the lane, but they did tremendous work.
Yeah.
Not only for private owners of animals, whether it's
Yeah.
cat, dogs, or
Yeah.
whatever, sheep,
Yeah.
but they extended their reach to farmers
Yeah.
and farmers who
Yeah,
into
yeah.
animal rearing and animal, making sure they are healthy and all of that. And that was a valuable service.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have another service offered by SGU, but when you look at the cost comparisons,
yeah.
it's significant for the ordinary person.
So it's a loss of affordable care. Low-income
right.
families rely on the GSPCA concessionary rate services
And
for
the
pet
question-
care,
and-
rabies,
correct.
vaccination, and emergency procedures.
And not only that, research into animal behavior and diseases that may come. GSPCA offered the approach where you could get some of these
It's an
things.
important institution.
It is.
So why didn't the Ministry of Agriculture or Health or major commercial step in with emergency subventions or technical
We
assistance
still have,
before the shelter was forced to shut
even
its
one
doors?
thing, we have a lot of sympathizers of
Yeah.
animals who will offer grant funding to us
Yeah.
to ensure that GSPCA and the services offered continues.
No,
Local veterinarians will, or locally qualified veterinarians use their service as well. So there is a lot in saying we allow this to close and we're not hearing nothing.
yeah. So we're really asking here that this should be looked at. We think it's an important
This
service.
government, good and very expert in releasing information they
So-
want you to hear, nothing
Right.
else.
Chris, we have a public sanitation crisis, something particularly building up in the south. As we head into Spice Mass, some people consider it a serious public health and environmental issues develop in the south of the island, both in residential and commercial hubs like Mount Two, Granans. Garbage is piling up along the roads.
And Granans Main Road as well.
With so many visitors arriving, this is
and
not,
obviously,
it's not just an eyesore, it's a health hazard.
the aesthetics is terrible. And if the contractor for that region
Yeah.
has an issue,
Yeah.
solid waste needs to step in and
Yeah.
get the matter rectified
Yeah.
quickly. And add the other layers. The amount of visitors we have here, obviously the volume of garbage will be increased. And on top of that, the events for Juve and so on, and Monday night mass and Tuesday mass, the streets need to be cleaned almost instantly after those events occur. And if you have a problem with how the contracts are being serviced for the removal of garbage from our streets and on the sides where we have garbage bins, it is something that we need to seriously question solid waste about. Because if you drive through Granans Valley, there's a very regular spot where the guys lime and have water and they do a lot of things. That garbage there is overflowing, right? And the one in Granans is one in Belmont overflowing. Right, so we need again. So we need to understand if solid waste have a problem. I know from prior experience, if they have a contractor with a compactor that is down, and the contractor can't get back, solid waste has to come in and use the equipment to do the garbage collection and get the place clean. So I wonder what is happening, and you know, we go to hear from solid waste.
Solid waste, well,
What is
what's going on?
I mean, they boast about a lot of things that they're doing, very good things and so on, but I ain't hearing nothing about the removal of garbage.
But that area is a primary tourist and event
Correct,
zone,
correct,
you know,
correct.
and so that's a major issue that needs to. Chris, well, of course, Spice Mass. I know we'll be discussing that at length lately, but more. I'm looking more at public health situation in terms of the food, the vendors. But one interesting thing came up there in that some vendors reported that they were instructed that they were unable to sell some drinks. So, for example, I understand a very popular drink. How is it called? Rude Boy, for example, cannot be sold by vendors along the road fare. Some water companies vendors cannot sell these water products along the roadway because they're not sponsors. I mean, how legal that? I mean, if you're a vendor and you're selling stuff, you're not an official vendor, you are an independent vendor.
No, that's nothing to do with that.
How does it work?
If one of the local companies is producing water,
Yeah.
and they bought the rights from Carnival
Yeah.
Committee to be the sponsor water for the events,
Yeah.
or their events,
Yeah.
then nobody can come and do ambush marketing. You can't come with any other brand.
But you're on the
So,
road.
That don't make a difference.
But if I have a shop on the roadway, can I be prevented the same way?
Remember, when we had World Cup 2007,
Uh-huh.
and Coke was the official sponsor and drink,
Yeah.
within, I think it was 300 or 400 meters of the stadium,
Yeah.
no vending could have
Yeah.
been sold any competing drink. It's the same thing applies here. That is standard practice when you are a sponsor for a particular area. If you go in a park where breweries sponsor and they have sponsorship, you can't sell a different malt, a different beer or nothing on
Is
only
it
theirs.
not a beer?
I don't know what Rude Boy is, but whatever Rude Boy is
I don't know.
obvious-
By the way, I don't know what it is.
it's competing with something of
Yeah.
some official sponsor, so
Okay.
it obviously, it's not allowed.
I know our technical friends will know what Rude Boy is. They can give us, they
Probably
can
could
tell
tell
us.
us,
I get, we'll ask them in the break. What is Wood Boy? Why it is so popular? That's interesting. But the Ministry of Health also, Chris, it was interesting that they were issuing training and certification for a lot of the persons dealing with food. I
Yeah,
thought
for
that was
for vending, yeah,
for
that has
vending.
always
I
been
thought
a-
that
a
was
thing.
quite a positive
Yeah.
and emphasize to the
Because in this time, a lot of food sells on the roadside, whether
Yeah.
it's barbecue, soups, and whatever.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure that they're healthy and what they're selling,
Yeah.
wouldn't give people any sort of major issues.
I just thought, Chris, another thing that we're hearing a lot about is the El Nino. And that one is the El Nino, N-I-N-O, that it would persist into, it's here, there's an 81% chance that it'll be very strong. So, and it is likely to affect every region, not in the same way, but it's an implications. What are you picking up on this weather
Yeah,
system?
the El Nino, I just want to remind folks, when we had Ivan, it was an El Nino period.
Okay.
So it doesn't absolve us from major hurricanes. There
Yeah.
might be less.
Yeah.
We want to hope that they're not as far south. I'm
Yeah.
being selfish here now.
Yeah.
But it could be as significant in terms of strength as Ivan or more.
Mm-hmm.
The other aspect of it is El Nino offers extremes. So you either go through an extreme dry period with drought and water issues, or plenty rain that will cause a lot of flooding and the effects of those floodings. And of course, what is the effects on farming with the extreme heat that is coming, and how we're going to prepare to deal with that in an El Nino period. And they are citing that this is going to be one of the strongest El Nino environment we're going to be operating in for the next one. The last one that was recorded was since 1950. So you're talking 50 and 20, 75
But it's
years.
likely to intensify or hurricanes or reduce.
That's right.
It
That's what
could
it's
also
saying.
reduce the impact.
Yeah, for example, in La Nina, you may have a higher frequency, but not as strong. In El Nino, the frequency may be less, but very strong. So it's an extreme weather.
Extreme. So what the scientists, they emphasize that regional impacts will vary, but the current focus indicates this is an event that is of close attention
Correct.
over the coming months.
Yeah.
Government, farmers, emergency planners, businesses already monitoring its development because of its potential to influence the weather pattern. So we could go into drought, we could go into, so
And it's
it's
going to
a-
last for the
it's a-
next, to the end of the year, into the first quarter in
into
2027.
So this this is
I remember we've been having extreme high winds with a lot of Sahara dust moving through the areas, the region as well.
Yeah.
And this could also produce even stronger winds
Stronger
and
winds.
stronger gusts necessarily that could affect us as well.
Chris, let's take a short break. We come back, viewers. We'll take a short break and we'll see you momentarily. Stay with us.
Fit for Life and Allied Laboratories, providing quality care and expertise. Fit for Life and Allied Laboratories, see our in-house doctors and our pharmacies. Get expert care and quality tests. When it comes to your health, you deserve the best. Fit for Life and Allied Laboratories, we're taking care of Grenada.
This is Shauna Smith from Spice Mass Corporation, and I'm encouraging everyone to tune in to Vibes to Spice Mass with MTV. That is your carnival program.
Grenada, the biggest show in Carnival, is back again. This is Free-Day. Free-Day. Wednesday, August 5th, the Grenada National Stadium will shake. Remember, you must wear black on stage. Nadia Batson and her band. Full blown. Freetown Collective. Michael Taker. Problem Child. Town Free. Money. Little Carrie. Terror of the Government. Westway. Dread Lion. Lava Man.
With my no good friends, all your
Jab King.
someone too little in the Mars, but
Boise.
give me back on this road.
Dash. Sakina and the Band. General PPC. And a special surprise guest. Gates open at 10 p.m. This is Free-Day, the biggest show in Grenada's Carnival.
In Grenada, sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. They teach discipline, teamwork, and resilience. They inspire the next generation to push boundaries and chase excellence. That's why the Investment Migration Agency of Grenada is proud to support sports initiatives as part of our commitment to youth and national development. When we invest in sports programs, we invest in the future. We invest in the health and well-being of our youth, and we invest in broadening Grenada's reach, proudly connecting our athletes, our talent, and our nation to a global community. Together, we all go further. The Investment Migration Agency. Unlock the possibilities.
Welcome back, viewers. We're back here with MTV Community Forum. Chris, in international sports politics, a massive crisis was narrowly averted. FIFA leadership attempted, so was reported, a secret proposal to spin off commercial rights of the World Cup into a private equity subsidy, offering multi-million-dollar cash payouts to local football associations to buy their votes. CONCACAF. Grenada would have benefited maybe 40 million. But anyway, UEFA, the Europeans, CONCACAF, our counterparts to start with, shut it down. FIFA withdrew.
Well, you know,
I mean, but they argued our football is for us. It's not for somebody else to make money off of it.
Well, I understand the argument. You could argue that the structure that the president put forward
Yeah.
could have been flawed in how it
Yeah.
was put forward. But what I'm not agreeing with, and
But it was undemocratic too,
Well,
the process.
I'm not saying those things wasn't happening. What I'm saying is, for the region, let's take Grenada as an example.
Yeah.
You think Grenada national football team could reach anywhere close to World Cup standards with what we do now in terms of the money and the support that we give to our players?
I mean, Aruba made it, Haiti made it, I mean,
Yeah, but what have they gotten from their countries in terms of money and the support?
I mean, locally?
Yes.
No, nothing.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So let me tell you something, Byron. Money is what makes the game go in football right now.
True.
When you watch the European League and the English League, what makes it? Money.
Yes.
The clubs are very strong, and the players that play for them
Rich.
get serious contracts to keep them going and keep their lifestyle.
That's correct.
Africa football has come into World Cup because of what is happening in the African League and what FIFA was able to do with clubs on the local level.
yeah.
We in this part of the region will never make it beyond a certain place. Same thing with South American teams and some of the poor ones. The South America have a league that sometimes can't support what they need to do for their players. So I'm not saying that what the FIFA president suggested probably was not the right thing in the method and what he chose. But at the end of the day,
FISIN combined ball cut threat, they withdraw. But you know, the question, Chris,
I'm very sorry. We've been buying votes for years. Not now.
governments
No
over
start.
quick cash, while 40 million sounds transformative, I'm going to use the word, Chris, for a small island football, surrendering control to private equity will compromise the long-term integrity of the sports. I think that's the issue there, Chris.
Well, I know about that. There's a lot of co-op activities going on in Europe and those other areas where they have issues going on. We had a gentleman from Trinidad
Yeah.
that was part of FIFA
Yeah.
that did things with money that a lot of people question. But look at him. They tried to jail him, they tried to extradite him, everything failed.
Chris, the
And
war,
the
Chris,
country benefited when he was living.
it's true. Chris, the war's still going on, man. Fuel prices still up. We're still paying those fees. It's not going anywhere, it don't seem. Every day we hear about the settlement. The next day there's no settlement. The price continue,
And the US keep bombing.
and the U.S. keep on.
What is
So
it?
what's going on, man?
Yeah, and what I think is frightening for us, we
Yeah.
just spoke about the El Nino effect.
Yeah,
We have a budget coming up in a few months.
yeah,
It is going to be important to see how our government pivots and what is going to be offered in this budget to help them deal with the challenges that may happen
Yeah.
under the El Nino environment
Yeah.
for farming, which is going to be a significant thing for us for food and the cost of food, local vegetables and so on. And then you have the issue of how we're going to deal with the inflationary pressures that is put on by the war. Because the price of oil will not go back down in the first quarter of 2027. It's going to probably take us till June or July of that year, the second half. Because the United Arab Emirates and Jordan and these countries have already announced to get back to 14 million barrels a day. It's going to take them 9 months plus, and the war still continues.
it's true.
So 9 months from now is in the first quarter of 2027, and as if the war stopped today, and the war seems as though it's stopping. So Iran have said quite openly that what going on in the Straits of Hormuz is going to continue, right? And that is going to keep the oil and the price of oil high, and the demand and supply issue with oil prices and the futures in terms of oil pricing is not going to drop on them $90 and $100 a barrel in any short time.
Well, Chris, you know, as we end this segment of our program, you know, we'll be joined, of course, by the superintendent Faraway to look at all this aspect of Carnival. But leaving topmost on my mind is, Chris, is the U.S. visa bond. I think it's damaging, it's hurtful for our population. We need really to hear more from our governments on this. What is generating this animosity, this anger by the United States to impose these measures on us? That clearly that's going to affect a lot of Grenadians, the business, and the health.
I don't think it's just
area.
us. I mean, we feel the effects.
But we are one. There's 4 countries in the whole region, you know, Chris.
You know, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when you look at the
And we
US,
don't expect it from Cuba, because Cuba, they've continued. Cuba, they've had an embargo against Cuba for decades. I mean, so we know that. Dominica, Haiti. Well, of course, we know what they're doing there. So the question is, why Grenada?
And the question,
And the government has an obligation, a responsibility to communicate clearly what's happening in our foreign policy. Why are we being targeted? Why are we being, because it would affect the ordinary Grenadian.
agreed, but do the government have much leverage to change
Well, at least
everything?
we want to know what's going on. We want to know what's generating this. What have they done? What have they done?
Explore what
we
leverage we have over doing that.
we can't shut down the CBI program.
And that will impact what?
Well,
We will lose millions. Is the U.S. going to give us the millions in aid?
Chris, and I've said this before, it's not just closing one program, because let's be clear, the CBI program is very important as a revenue generation for the country. We raise hundreds of millions annually from this program to help finance our budget.
And infrastructure
And
projects.
infrastructure, yeah, absolutely. Critical, very important. But because of the signals and the noise we're getting internationally, in Europe and America and elsewhere, we have to take a serious look at it and begin to look at alternatives.
But what are the alternatives?
But Chris-
Let me tell you, in countries like ours,
Yeah.
what are the alternatives? We have been agriculture,
Yeah.
as construction as
Yeah.
a sector,
Yeah.
tourism as
Yeah.
a sector.
Yeah.
Tourism is high risk because any weather problem is problems.
Yeah.
Agriculture is the same thing, pest control and weather patterns. When you look at services, generally like SGU and so on, it's just one sector. So what are the sectors are we going to
But
look
why
at?
are other countries that don't have this program continue to grow in sectors that they are
Like,
in?
like what? All of us have the same sectors.
Barbados is not pursuing
Barbados
a
have oil
CBI
and gas
program.
and they have
Well,
been
we are
getting-
pursuing oil and gas. There's some
Well, look
positive
at, okay,
developments.
let's take tourism.
Yeah.
Barbados and compare ourselves
Yeah.
to Barbados. When you look at the volume of flights and the growth in tourism in Barbados,
Yeah.
it far exceeds any of us in this region.
Yeah.
Even St. Vincent, even
Yeah.
Dominica is showing greater rates of tourism, tourism rates increases
Yeah.
strictly through just flights and
Yeah.
the volume of flights. What is
Yeah.
the reason for that? We are the most expensive destination in terms of our airport charges, right? In terms, we're furthest south, so it costs us a little more. So we have things here that we need to make some adjustments in, which we're not doing. So it is going to impact the sectors that we look forward to build the economy. And our sectors as OECS countries, we all have the similar sectors. None of us have oil and gas in any major way. Barbados have it to some degree. So take Barbados out of it and just take the OECS. What do we have to offer? Even in investment, what can we do?
These
We
are some
have-
ideas. These
we
are
don't
some
have
ideas.
capacity
So
to do.
these are some ideas, Chris.
Yeah.
We could look at high yield agriculture. I mean, I'm not going to go into debate, but some high yield agricultural exploration. We can also look at modernizing our agribusiness and more investment there.
So let me stop you.
We can hold on,
You're
let me finish.
doing- you're carrying them all. So I'm taking them all
We
right.
can leverage our global reputation on the spice aisle to export premium, value-added goods. And simultaneously, we must aggressively capitalize on our creative economy, modernizing our rich cultural heritage, music, film, digital arts on the global stage. So we need to pay various sectors. So I'm saying, I don't have the answer, Chris, but all I'm saying,
want to go back to the typical
hold
question.
on. Let me finish the point, Chris. What I'm saying here is this, that all the signals around us tell us everybody's challenged. Should we wait until it's shut down, or the European Union saying no more? The United States, that's it, no more. When it collapses, and then we start thinking about alternatives, let us start the process now of thinking of alternatives.
What
because-
you call is not alternatives.
Well,
We've been down that road.
Yeah, but we
already.
get them- we can
Agro-processing is a good example. We've been
but
down that road.
we've not given
Right?
the resources it needs.
No, but
You know that?
what caused these things to fail? This is not the first time we're coming up. High-yielding agriculture, why that
Yeah.
never worked for us? Because our farmers are not prepared to go back. Spices, nutmeg, and cocoa. The only positive thing that has come from cocoa is the value added to chocolates. And we still don't have the cocoa supply now of raw materials to facilitate expansion and growth in that. If we were to get an order for a container of dasheen,
No, we can't do it.
So-
we import dashing.
Right, so my point is, we importing cow to kill in the abattoir to
That's
get beef.
true too.
So the point is, do we...
Because we haven't been investing there adequately, that's the point,
What is
Chris.
greater than that,
Yeah,
Byron,
yeah.
our mindset...
So what's the
for-
alternative? So you think the solution is CBI, that by pursuing
CBI is
this?
the only
No,
solution.
but that, because of the challenge to this one. Look, the region now, sub-region is trying to master a delegation together to go to Brussels to try to put up an argument. The Europeans are not going to listen to us. They've already made a policy decision
That is a
and
serious-
gave us 2 years to say, guys, shut it down, or that's
That
it.
is the same Europeans
Yeah.
that kill what?
Well, we know
The
that.
banana industry.
Yes.
That was cash cow for us.
Yes.
And they was what they do is, they go to a country like in South America,
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, and that was the end of our banana. That's
Yeah.
the same Europeans.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me, that's what they're trying to do with CBI.
Yeah.
So in other words, we must not be able to fish. They must feed us fish till we dead. That is the essence and the summary of these guys. They are coming to us, shut it down, but I must do it. I could do it.
So yeah, because
So
the
they have no
attraction,
challenge?
the attraction of the program, who comes to the program is individuals who want visa-free entry in the certain country. If this country shut it down and they say no, then the program is no
But
longer
that's
attractive.
the point.
You no longer have those investors. So the point I'm making is that while this is happening, we have a time to look at alternatives. you
Like
know.
what? You ain't give me an alternative yet?
Chris, I went through a whole list, man. I'll put it in writing for you.
That is
Chris.
not alternatives. We've been down that road already and nothing has happened.
Chris, because
What is the only new thing you offer there is the orange sector with sports,
so Chris-
culture and creative
Chris,
arts
but-
and music. But look at Jamaica. It took Jamaica between 20 years to get the orange sector moving to a point where
the
it
economy
becomes-
also is another
becomes
one
international.
that we talk about, but we haven't put resources into it to generate. And part of it is the oil and gas, by the way. It's not just fish. But I know, Chris, but we have to look at, because we have some problems there.
As a region, we see
Absolutely.
us.
Yeah,
The ECCB looked at this already.
yeah.
In terms of our sectors,
Yeah.
which ones we could target for growth, because ECCB said they want us to be up to 6-7% GDP.
Yeah.
Where are we getting and which sectors are we going to challenge for that? And you have to answer that. And even though we come at alternatives, the biggest issue we face in the region is labor and mindset.
Oh, as you talk about labor, Chris, by the way, it's official now, the government, I mean, we first heard it from Mia Motley, that Grenada put through its application to join the free movement of people, labor, and I think it was repeated somewhere on a program by the Prime Minister, so it's factual, we know that. So we await this and see what development this brings to us, and whether this by itself or this as a factor can help solve some of our labor issues.
Well, even in some of the sectors that I think like construction and tourism and so
Yeah.
on, the biggest constraint is labor.
Yeah.
And we knew that.
Yeah.
Look at transport in the region.
Yeah.
How are we getting these sectors? If we said Guyana was supposed to be the food basket for us was 2030,
Yeah, yeah.
when I move it to 2035, what is the constraint? The constraint is movement of goods and people out
Yeah,
of Guyana.
yeah, yeah.
We can't even get a aircraft. Barbados doing it. Barbados, I think, have a Amerijet moving goods out of Guyana into Barbados to reduce costs and get enough supplies into the market.
Yeah.
So what are we doing as a OECS? And that's the point. I hear you talking about all these alternative industries.
Yeah.
If you were sitting in the Minister of Finance seat, what's he coming up
But
with?
you know what I would say, Chris? The permanent casualties of the CBI collapse. Because if we continue, it will. I believe that. It won't be the foreign millionaires or billionaires, Chris, that's trying to buy their way in. It will be everyday Grenadians who will lose their global mobility. So we must protect our sovereignty. And
I don't understand what you mean.
No, what I'm saying, Chris, is that the losers, the permanent casualties of the collapse won't be the people, the billionaires or the millionaires that are applying and trying to get in to us the visa to access these countries. It will be everyday Grenadians who would lose their mobile ability. This is what
We're losing it already.
Exactly.
Through the US.
Yeah,
That is one part of it.
part of it is the CBI program. That's part of the factor for
Yeah,
this.
but they're
But
making it sound as though the CBI program is the only thing
It's
that's
one of
causing
it.
that.
It's one of it.
small part.
It's a big part.
No, how the CBI program? Because the CBI program doesn't deal with people overstaying their visit in the US. It has nothing to do with that.
It's a security concern for the
It
United
was
States.
never a security concern.
For the United States?
No.
Yes.
The CBI program in Grenada have 4 levels of security
So
check.
why are the Europeans
And-
against? So what's the Europeans saying? It's a security matter for them.
That is what they say.
Yes.
That's not the truth. The truth is that the amount of money flowing out of those economies, our economies, is what have them threatened. Remember, these same billionaires are not investing in the European countries as they ought to and they used to. Germany, France, and these countries are the biggest European players. And when you look at what is happening to the international flow of money, to them, it has been significantly reduced by these high net worth people. They're not interested in them anymore. So they're looking elsewhere. If it's not China, they're looking at other places where they can invest
So
their
you
money.
think it's worth losing your mobile ability to keep the CBI program going? That's the point,
what
Chris.
great loss. We're losing it without CBI. That is what I'm trying
But
to
that's
say
the
to you.
reason they put forward.
Well,
That's the
I
reason
just
they put
gave you
forward.
reasons why that don't make any sense.
But that's the reason they put forward.
They didn't say that for us for CBI. That we're
Europeans-
losing mobility in the US, for example, because of overstay, nothing else.
Chris, come on. Let me go back there briefly for you. It has nothing to do with our overstay because, as I told you, our overstay per thousand, it's 3.2%. Jamaica is over 7. Let me finish. Jamaica is over 7%. You have countries as much as 10%, and they're not on the list.
Right.
We are on the list at 3.2%.
Right. So the question is-
so that's put it aside.
So that is essentially was false information they use.
Yes, of course. It's,
Right.
it's-
But
it's-
CBI, remember,
Yeah.
Grenada passports over E2 visa requirement that the same US gives.
Yeah.
Our program have that
Yeah.
apart from the other programs. And they have not shut that down. Ask yourself the question why they have not shut it down.
Well, this is new information for Chris.
No, that's not new. All CBI program have always had E2 visas attached to the passports.
Okay.
So why haven't the US shut it down for security reasons or otherwise? Ask yourself that question. A lot of Americans get CBI passports in as an alternative passports. So you need to ask yourself why that is not happening for the Americans. And whether or not they're going to shut it down. If they had to shut it down, they shut it down already. Because saying 10,000 and 20,000, they're shutting down normal B1, B2 visas, right? As far as I'm concerned. But they ain't shutting down that.
And
B2.
St. Vincent is reconsidering because they were on the verge of establishing a CBI program, but I think they're reviewing this.
Well, that is fair enough. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I don't share the view that CBI will ever stop. It may change how certain things are done, but if the European countries have CBI programs, Canada have CBI programs, US have CBI programs, what make them special?
Nothing make them special. Nothing make them special. But the how we've been penalized for it is the issue. You know, in other words, the program's going to fail. It's not going to be effective. It's not going to be attractive if the person's buying it or unable to access those countries, because that's what they're buying it for: accessibility. And if that access is removed, what's the point?
We
Program
have more
fails.
than 140 countries
Yeah.
with access with our passports.
Yeah.
If we lose 10 out of the
The Europeans are
140,
the key ones here.
no, the Europeans are not the key ones.
Yeah.
We have access to a lot of
Fundamental.
African countries, Latin
Yeah.
American, and so on.
Chris, we're going to take
Russia, for example, we don't need a visa to go to Russia.
That's true, yeah. And many African countries.
Correct.
Chris, viewers, we can take a short break here. When we come back, stay with us.
Is the air you're breathing really clean? At Allied Laboratories, we offer indoor air quality testing for commercial and residential spaces. Our rapid test results provide precise ratings of common air contaminants and will recommend the best actions to eliminate them effectively. Why do an indoor air quality test? Protect immunocompromised occupants, detection of mold and bacteria, identify volatile organic compounds, identify particulate matter, identify harmful pollutants that may otherwise go undetected, enhances safety and comfort. Breathe easier and live healthier. Allied Laboratories, bringing quality laboratory services directly to you.
Grenada, are you ready for the most epic cool down after Spice Mass? Because on Wednesday, August 12th, the Grenada National Cricket Stadium becomes the home of one massive soca experience. Carnival Encore, Sunset Over White.
Are you ready?
Featuring not one, but two international soca giants, Marshall Montano and the Monk Band. Yes, the band. And they'll be joined by some of Grenada's biggest soca superstars for one unforgettable night of music, vibes, and pure island energy. This is the event that keeps the carnival spirit alive. The final celebration. The Encore. You don't want to miss. General admission and VIP early bird tickets are sold out online. General admission $150. VIP $550. Get your tickets now at GoToFed.com and the official Sunshine Promotions outlets. Carnival Encore 2026. Sunset Over White. Wednesday, August 12th at the National Cricket Stadium. When the road ends, this is the Encore.
What about probably drinks? Hey there. Come and find out how you can win from the Flow Summer Rhythm promotion. Get an opportunity to spin the wheel when you sign up for postpaid with your internet account, or even interact with the Flow Summer Girls every Rhythm Wednesday. Hey girls! Just be sure to be part of Flow's summer promotion. Switch today, pay your bill in full, top up, or do one of the transactions mentioned in our promotion so you have an opportunity to win big and keep your rhythm flowing.
Can you feel the magic in the air tonight? Let the music flow, it's gonna be alright. And if you really, really wanna get away, let the music play. Oh, can you feel the magic in this country? Nowhere in this world that I would rather be. It's really, really, really gonna be okay. Darling, let the music play. Hi everybody, this is Zarina. Everybody know me as a birthday lady, and I'm bigging up Vibes to Spice Mass on MTV.
Grenada, MTV, Vibes, go Spice Mass.
Can you feel the magic in the air tonight? Let the music flow, it's gonna be alright. And if you really, really wanna get away, let the music play. Oh, can you feel the magic in this country? Nowhere in this world that I would rather be. It's really, really, really gonna be okay. Darling, let the music play. Hi everybody, this is Zarina. Everybody know me as a birthday lady, and I'm bigging up Vibes to Spice Mass on MTV.
Grenada, MTV, Vibes, go Spice Mass.
This is Shauna Smith from Spice Mass Corporation, and I'm encouraging everyone to tune in to Vibes to Spice Mass with MTV. That is your carnival program.
Grenada, MTV, Vibes, go Spice Mass.
Grenada, the biggest show in Carnival, is back again. This is Free-Day. Free-Day. Wednesday, August 5th, the Grenada National Stadium will shake. Remember, you must wear black on stage. Nadia Batson and her band. Full blow. Freetown Collective. Michael Tasia. Problem Child. Town Cream. Money. Little Carrie.
Viewers, welcome back to Community Forum. As we indicated a little earlier, we have in studio with Superintendent Frank Farray, who is going to discuss quickly, because we don't have much time. There was some miscommunication, so he got here kind of late. So what we're going to do is talk to him generally about security for the season and where we are generally, and for, of course, in particular for Carnival. So Frank, Superintendent Farray, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I am really happy to be here.
Right. So I want to start off with general security issues. So, you know, in this time we have a lot of visitors visiting.
Yes.
We have issues that has happened with housebreaking. We have issues that will happen with pickpocketing.
Yes.
We have issues that will happen with, you know, really irresponsible driving, and accidents increase, hopefully non-fatal. What is the RGPF doing to deal with these general issues in particular before we get to Carnival?
Yeah, well, in a general context, our plan in reference to, well, we're in carnival mode right now.
Yes.
Right, so everything more or less will encompass what we do and leading up to the hype of carnival. We have that you raised, and what we did since before, earlier on this year, we try to heighten our visibility in a number of areas, especially areas like in St. George, like Wall Street, Grandlands, which is a tourist belt. Areas that we know that we have gang, well, not really gang violence really, but young people in terms of offensive weapons. When we get reports of offensive weapons, we get reports of same pickpocketing, we get reports of same stealing. So we more or less do a lot of visibility, and we also have our undercover patrols as well, with like CID, drug squad, and just name it. Our point thing is just to reassure the public that we are there for them and set the stage of peace and reduce crime as much as possible going into the carnival season. So basically that's what our plan.
So through the visibility of uniformed officers or otherwise,
yeah.
And what about response time to issues that may pop up, whether it's traffic related or otherwise?
Well, our response time, I would say it's rated out of, let's say, 1 to 10. I rate it basically about maybe 7.5, 8, right, in terms of response. Traffic related issues.
As we know, we have a number of vehicles. If you watch what's going on now, Chris.
In the last 2 months, yes. Very important.
Yes. We have so many vehicles right now. Every day we more or less have to tailor our traffic response in reference to where we may get reports. And I must say though that our eyes in the sky, our drone unit assists us a lot.
Okay.
In terms of regulating the traffic flow.
And picking up things earlier.
Yes,
crime issues.
That's right. Because every day the drone unit have its tasks in terms of surveilling the entire St. George area to pick up things like traffic congestion or where you may have gathering of individuals. And this information, we get it in real time. Our ops room, we sit down and we view everything. So if we had to make a spotted moment decision, we are in a good position to do so.
Okay.
Right? So encompassing all these, our patrols, our drone unit, our under surveillance unit, all these things help us to set the stage for carnival.
Well, you know what you say, when people fetting and drinking, we tend not to bother with crime.
Yes, we tend not to bother with crime.
So that helps. Yes. I don't know what
No, I can hear that we are very limited. But how would you assess the RGPF overall readiness? I mean,
overall I think we're pretty ready for carnival. And as of today, for almost a whole week, we've been back and forth with Spice Mass in terms of setting the stage and viewing our concerns and possible things. It was an experience that we had last year and year before last, bringing it to the table so that we could make certain adjustment in terms of making life easier for the police and patrons. So really and truly, our plan for Carnival started since in May. That's when we rolled out our plan.
So what is the community expectations? Are there going to be some inconveniences? Are there
Yes,
going to be?
yes,
So tell us a
definitely.
little about that, because you want the full cooperation. You want them to understand
Yes.
where you'll be, how you'll be acting,
Yes.
and what behavior you expect from
Yes. Well, most and foremost, there will be delays.
Right, yes, so talk about that, yes. Why? Yes, but when will that
Because
happen?
of the influx of visitors, and based on the show itself and the capacity of the venues, right? Ushering people into the venues and screening everybody, making sure everybody is safe and making sure everybody are going inside the venue are clean. This will create a little bit of delay. Added to that, our parking arrangement for the traffic, in terms of thinking about the VIPs and thinking about the regular patrons, this also will create some form of delays and congestion. So we want the public to be patient with us and listen to the directions that the police will be giving on the ground, because we know the setup, we know where we want it to go. So by following our directions, therefore, everything will be relatively nice and smooth.
Are your public bulletins also?
Well, we have some
Which
public
road closures,
bulletins, we have some public bulletins already out, but we have to more or less publicize the traffic arrangement, which is a little bit of a headache for us. The security arrangement, yes, I believe we have that locked down. And the public, we are assuring the public that we have everything in terms of security since starting from May up to leading to Tuesday midnight of Carnival.
What about inspections on the road? People coming to the different fits, stopping by the police to check to see if they have offensive
Yes.
That will continue.
Part of our plan, we have border controls.
So there's another set of rules.
Border control.
Yes,
Explain that.
meaning that our border control is big. We have 4 divisions. We have the Central Division, we have the Eastern Division, the Western Division, and the Northern Division. Well, the Northern Division is not really in play because that's Carriacou and Petit Martinique. So what we do is that between the boundary of the Eastern Division and the Central Division, we have a border control wherever we will check. But the same things you're mentioning, like offensive weapons, drugs, just name it. Things that more or less could constitute to a lethal offense.
Yeah.
So we'll be checking for this thing. Added to that, we will have also checks closer to the venue. We will have some vehicles checks so that all the vehicles that go into the parking area, they are clean, they are swept, the people are clean, and people are swept as well.
Will the RGPF engage in profiling? I mean, we can watch some vehicles and some occupants.
Of course,
profile them and say,
Chris, you know, in law enforcement, we always have people on radar.
we have to pull them across.
We pull them across when we see certain people that, based on description and based on
Past
reports
history and so on.
past history, we'll pull them in, you know, and have a conversation with them. Added to that, normally for Carnival, we look at potential people who, based on history, who committed certain offenses before and they have the potential of committing offense again. You know, we have a closer eye on those persons, right? And if necessary, you know, we may more or less kind of bring them in just for the time, you know, in ensuring that keeping the place safe.
And
Because
reduce the
our
risk.
thing, reduce the risk of crime, because we want our visitors specifically, right, to be comfortable and safe. And part of this also, I should mention, like we in the process of doing this walkthrough from the executive go all the way down to the lowest rank in the neighborhoods, in the town, the people seeing the police outside, that is a form of reaction.
All police would be called back to
Yes.
duty during
All
carnival?
police will call back to duty during carnival.
What's the total like? How many officers total, approximately?
Well, approximately, it's between 800 to 900
100 officers.
officers.
So when Spice Mass 26 is over, what three indicators will tell you that the force has achieved a successful carnival?
Well, the first
What
thing
are you looking at?
is the crime.
The crime,
The
okay.
offenses that,
Over
let's say,
crime.
that happened during the time. So
Right.
we measure it by
Okay.
by that. We also measure it by the amount of accident as well.
Motor vehicle accidents.
Motor vehicle accident.
Fatal and non-fatal.
Fatal and non-fatal. And also we measure it by the amount of reports we get during the time. Right? Because we compare reports from
Previous
last year
time, so you're doing
this year.
this.
So we do this kind of analysis. And I must say, I give kudos to our crime collecting department in terms of data. And trust me, we doing an excellent job in the area of collecting data so we could analyze how the crime spread.
And strategically plan.
That and
how you want
strategically,
to make
yes.
adjustments.
Yeah, and strategically based on the data, we know how to more or less deal with
And to deploy your forces.
yes, in terms of deployment.
Well, it's good to hear that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of people think that GPL just operate on intuition
Yeah.
and gut feeling,
Yes, yes.
and not statistical data. and
Details.
info.
So you're moving it down and see that you're using technology.
Technology,
now.
drones and so on.
definitely.
But that's on the land.
Yeah.
But we're an island, and there's a lot of movement now on the sea.
Yes, there's a-
How are you? Well, what's the plan there? You have a plan to deal with that also?
Well, our marine unit, which is the Coast Guard,
Yes.
basically will deal with all issues in reference to the sea.
The sea.
And we
Well,
collaborate
Port Authority
also
has a
with Port
major part
Authority.
to
Yes,
play,
we
yeah.
collaborate with Port Authority
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well to combine efforts in terms of dealing with sea issues. And based on what happened to the south, we more or less more watchful in terms of how we really police our marine
If
bodies.
the Minister for National Security come to you and he say, Superintendent, what additional can we give you to enhance your work to make it more successful? What would that resource be? What do you need?
Well, there is so much resource.
What do you need? What would those things be to enhance your delivery?
Well, for one, stepping up in our crime fighting tools in reference to technology.
That's intelligence, yeah.
Yeah, intelligence
Okay.
in
Right.
terms of intelligence gathering, how we more or less properly analyze our crime scene, to develop
That area,
Although
yeah.
we have some tools there, but I believe
You can
in my
go
mind, I
higher.
believe we could go higher in this to really enhance our
Crime
data-
solving, yeah.
crime solving efforts. Added to that, some of our human resource.
You can do it more than that, yes, okay.
Human resource.
Okay.
Is something
Transport?
that,
Is it adequate?
transportation. Well, transportation is never adequate in my mind.
In fact, let me tell you something Chris was saying. Chris was saying earlier on that when we look at the traffic and management by the police, you're saying that you need about 12 scooters, and in different areas. Chris, you said it.
Low-hanging fruit, like the
So-
scooters, and then you have the electrical bikes, no?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
electrical
yeah.
bikes.
So they can move around and
Especially in
manage.
the
Grand Dance area,
all these things.
Finance Valley, and all
But you
that.
have new facilities now on the Carnage, new headquarters.
Yes.
Generally, the accommodation for your officers are much better compared to
Yes.
previously. How is this enhancing your delivery, though?
Well, I think the comfort creating an avenue for a lot of members of the IGPF to produce more.
Okay.
Because of the quality of the facility.
And you have
I
better
think
equipment
that-
now too, based on
better
when I
equipment.
visited.
Oh, definitely. Because if you visit our forensic unit now, you will be amazed.
Yeah, excellent. Very good. Very good.
To
Very
see
good. Very good.
the kind of setup, and that moves us a lot further in terms of solving crime.
Well, your percentage for solving crimes is pretty high.
Yes,
You could always get higher.
yes,
but,
yes, yeah. But every year we more or less set a benchmark. right? We always try to maintain the 80% solving rate. So,
so we come into it, but what do you have to say to our revelers, to our people who participate, and what is your message? What you can speak to them here directly? What are you saying to them?
My message to the revelers is that we set in the stage for a peaceful carnival. And whatever that we say, whatever that we do is in keeping of the law. So we want everybody more or less to abide with the laws of the land. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to protect the product of Grenada, which is, and carnival is one of our major product. And law enforcement have a great part to play in terms of keeping the product clean, healthy, crime-free. That's what we want. So if the revelers more or less revel in a clean and responsible way, I think that will make life easy for all of us. And added to that, we don't want anybody discriminate. We don't want anybody more or less to go against the law that is set up by Spice Mass in terms of the animals and the facing of buildings, the pickpocketing, leave your weapons home, because we come to have a good time, and we ain't seeing the need for it.
Do you consider alcohol a fool or a friend in carnival?
Well, it could go different ways, both ways.
The problem is excessive.
Excessive, and how you manage it. Let's see how you manage it.
Because you don't want a man who is totally inebriated with alcohol to drive on your road.
Definitely. When Chris Miles could manage his load,
And live animals are not accepted, like snakes.
Snakes. That's one. That's
against the law.
That's one of the Spice Mass rules that they set.
You have to remind them as a Jab nation. They need to understand.
Yes. And to be honest with you, as I said, Jab there, what we're seeing from the launch of Carnival to now is almost all community launch a Jab ban.
Are you serious?
Yes. Very interesting. No, very interesting.
Yeah, and they started to play.
All communities
launch a Jab ban.
So it means that for Carnival, there will be Jab in those communities.
That's what we.
So that's the jabs we could say is the biggest growing sector.
Is the biggest growing
of Carnival.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and we market it. We are marketed for people who want to come
100,000 jab.
And play, whether it's black, yellow, pink, green, they want to play.
Well, the good thing now, Chris, I understand there are paints available, soluble paints.
Yes,
water-based paints.
Yes,
that's a good thing.
And of course,
and if my
I could take kudos for that.
Yeah,
and the charcoal, some guys who do the charcoal, they grind the charcoal into a powder, and they mix it with.
So where are these pastes available from, Chris?
What base?
Well, the jab paints, where are they available?
They're available at ACGL.
Yes.
You do it in any color you want.
Okay.
You do it in 50-gallon containers if you want.
So the bands know that?
Yeah, the bands know that. We've been doing that for many years.
Because they use motor oil is dangerous for your skin.
Yes.
Our ACGL body paints, as they're called.
We have black.
We have black. We have blue for the blues and bruises to play that. And we have green. We have pink. We have any color that you want. And we export it as well. St. Vincent buys a lot from us.
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So body paint is nothing new to us, and we have perfected the chemistry over the years. So when it comes on, you don't have to put on grease to put it on. You just put it on, and then just wash it off.
Wash it off. Oh, beautiful.
And it's done in such a way that it doesn't harass the skin.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's much more healthy.
Yeah. It's not like what we do with the black with it.
So we have to ask you to make your final comments and statement, and then Chris would give you the chance.
From the RGPF standpoint, I believe that we set the stage for a peaceful carnival, and we intend to maintain this because we, from since May to now, based on the phases of our operational plan, is to more or less go into carnival, right, with no crime or limited crime as much as possible. So bearing that in mind, we want the public to know that Grenada is still one of the safest places
in the world.
Well, I support Superintendent Farrell from the point of view that we must protect the reputation of our safety of this country in general, and particularly in Carnival. That is why we see so much visitors coming here to enjoy the different events and playing the different things, because you could go on the road, you could fit, and go back home, even though you may have a few drinks, but nobody is going to stop you, stick you up, rob you, mug you. We don't want to have that as a major issue deterring people from coming here. I think we just had the Trinidad boat come up this evening.
Yes, this evening.
There are a number of revelers.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, a number of revelers.
So-
660.
Serious?
Yeah.
We have a cruise tomorrow,
And
660.
correct. And the other thing about it is that the more people we have here, it's the more the economy does well. They have to eat, they have to spend, they have to enjoy
good for us.
themselves. So compliments to the RGPF and Superintendent for the work you all are doing, and I really appreciate you're coming on the program and stating some of the things, even though we didn't get much time with you.
Viewers, we want to thank you for being with us. We want to talk to we want to thank the technical staff, MTV management. We'll see you. We're off next week, as Chris said. We're back on the 18th, Chris.
Yes.
So we'll see you then. Have a good carnival.
And a
Enjoy.
safe one.
All the best. Bye-bye.